So the time is now 9:20 a.m. We are exiting executive session. Is there a motion?
I move we exit executive session, no decisions being made.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Exited executive session. Moving on to our first action item, it is a public hearing, case number ZON 20-0010. Skylar Shannon to complete a zone change from rural to agricultural suburban on 18.22 acre parcel of land. Director Callahan?
Commissioners, bear with me again. I don't know how I've managed to lose the Zoom setting on my screen, but it's just fine on the view options. Vlad will be presenting this case, but I need to get the Zoom setting on the wall set correctly. There.
Here you go.
Okay, thanks for your patience. Vlad, go ahead.
David, I'm not sure if the PowerPoint presentation is projecting on your screen.
It's not at the moment.
Let me see what I can do. Is it projecting now?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the side-by-side view. That's what I was trying to eliminate.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Vlad Finkel with Kootenai County Community Development. Can everybody hear me quite well?
No.
Yeah, you need to step it up if you can. Raise the volume.
Just lean into it if you can, Vlad. Close to your microphone as you can. And at the moment, I'm not hearing you at all.
Okay.
There.
Before I get into the specifics of this request, I'd like to make a disclaimer that the applicant has requested to utilize the county conference room and laptop to present their case after staff is done, so there may be 30 seconds to a minute waiting time until the applicant is ready to proceed.
Okay, lean into your microphone, Vlad. We can barely hear you.
Just a minute. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. So as Chairman Pilios had stated, this is a request for zone change ZON 20-0010 from rural to agricultural suburban by Mr. and Mrs. Shannon. The request is located just east of Coeur Lane, and it is off of Pine Trail Road, located on 18.2 acres of land. As you can see, based on the zoning map before you, the parcels surrounding the subject property are zoned rural as well as agricultural, suburban, and to the south there are portions of City of Coeur d'Alene incorporated areas. The comprehensive is border, however, this property does sit adjacent to transitional to the northeast. The property is located within the City of Coeur d'Alene area of city impact. These are some of the photos of the property. As you can see, the upper left photo shows the current condition of Pine Trail Road. It is a fairly narrow road that is currently not constructed to any city or county standards. During the agency comment period, we solicited comments from the following agencies, all of whom have provided comments either in support or no objection to this request. One of the ACI provisions states that any development within the City of Coeur d'Alene area of city impact must comply with a couple of different standards. The first one is that any subdivision that will occur within the City of Coeur d'Alene area of city impact must comply with the subdivision standards of the Kootenai County Land Use Development Code in Chapter 6. The second provision requires that any development must comply with the Title 16 road design standards under the Municipal Code of City of Coeur d'Alene. As I previously stated, the City of Coeur d'Alene official did not cite any concerns with this zone change. Not have any concerns moving forward with the application. After receiving agency comments and public that the proposed zone change is consistent with the recent zone changes in the area, a future subdivision of the property would have to comply with the infrastructure requirements of Title 16 of the Coeur d'Alene Municipal Code. The applicant was brought up to speed on the code requirements during the pre-application meeting. We advised them that regardless of whether this property is rezoned to agricultural, suburban, or remains as rural, any division of land that will be requested will be required to comply with the city road design standards. So, in essence, what that means is if the property is not rezoned from rural to agricultural, suburban, and the density will remain a maximum of 3 potential lots rather than as many as 9, the county will solicit comments if a subdivision application is brought forward from the City of Coeur d'Alene Engineering Department, and they will have to address the road improvements to Frosty Pine Trail. So that has been something that has been provided to the applicant from the beginning of this process. On February 4th of this year, the hearing examiner heard this request, and based on the testimony provided by the applicant, the hearing examiner subsequently recommended a recommendation of denial. The hearing examiner cited that based on their review of the border designation, they felt that the proposal would not be in compliance with the border designation standards. And what the border designation standards state is that the development within the border areas should be limited to low density development until such time that the municipality adjacent to it annexes it and provides sewer and water services. The hearing examiner also cited that the applicant did not provide sufficient evidence to support their application to be in compliance with the provisions for the classification or designation of border in this case. And therefore, they disagreed with the recommendation by staff and brought forward a recommendation of denial. During both public comment periods, we received a total of 7 comments. They're kind of split up with, some in support, some in opposition. Before I finish up with my presentation, I would like to disclose that if the board decides to uphold the recommendation of the hearing examiner and basically deny this request, they can, after the closing of the public hearing, they can move into deliberations and do so. However, if the board decides to reverse the recommendation of the hearing examiner, they're obligated to have a second public hearing to reaffirm their decision. With that, I don't have anything else to add to this presentation, and I stand for any questions at this time.
Any questions for Vlad? Leslie, no? Bill?
No.
No. Vlad, it looks like we have relatively mixed use surrounding the project area, from rural to ag suburban, and then, of course, the ACI itself. Are there any other arguments that you've encountered for or against?
Well, I think the main concern is that with the rezone and the increase in density from 3 to as many as 9 lots, you have a 3-fold increase in density. The concern is that the additional development will have implications of additional traffic, noise, impacts to the environment, and so forth. Keep in mind remind commissioners that the two parcels to the south, and if you can see my mouse,
Yes.
this parcel and this parcel were rezoned, I believe, in 2017. I was the planner assigned to this case, and the property owners in that application had the same desire to be able to rezone this property and subdivide it into parcels less than 5 acres in size. As you know, the agricultural suburban zone has a minimum lot size of 2 acres.
Right.
However, what's been keeping this area, it is not constructed to the private road standards, which would be identical to the highway district standards, or moreover to the standards of the City of Coeur d'Alene Municipal Code. And I think that's what kept this development from occurring. Almost a decade ago, I have been the planner assigned to this case, which was called Woodlands and Frosty Pines. This was a conservation design subdivision. In that application, the applicant or the owner of the property did improve the road conditions of Frosty Pine Trail from Brennan Hill Road, from this location all the way up to this point where there is a private gate to enter into this subdivision.
Right.
So there's been development occurring over the years in this area. And with that, we believe that the changes have caused